Right. Too far away. That should be alright. Okay. Hopefully this fucking works. Alright. Welcome back to another video, guys. And today we're going to talk about how I personally went from weighing 72 kilos to 97 kilos in under 6 months. So, disclaimer before we get into it, this wasn't healthy, this wasn't the right way to do it, and after we talked about how I got from 72 to 97, which is a 25 kilo weight gain in 6 months, which is pretty insane, and I did this all naturally, by the way. We're also going to talk about what weight, so I'm now 85, so I'm 12 kilos less than what I was when I'm at my heaviest, and then we're going to talk about what I'm doing now and how I'm maintaining and still putting on a little bit of weight, but I'm staying at an ideal body fat percentage for health and those sorts of reasons. So first of all, when I was weighing 72 kilos, I was doing a lot of exercise, so I was weight training, I was working as a labourer, so I had a really active job, and I was doing a lot of rugby training, so I was very, very light, and I did a lot of cardio, and I was eating not enough, I'd say. So I was pretty lean, and I didn't have enough on me. So I thought, okay, so now I'm going to properly commit to weight training, and I'm going to want to put on weight. So what I first started doing was eating more, and this is the biggest thing. And I increased my calorie intake. I didn't actually know what I was doing. I didn't really know what calories were. I didn't really know how much to increase it by. So I just started eating more. As an indefinite idea, it was just, okay, I'm going to have another meal a day, and I'm going to make sure it's another big meal, and that should just make me bigger. And yes, that worked. And then I started implementing more and more meals, and then I started looking at calories and that kind of thing. And by the time I was 97 kilos, I was probably having 5 or 6 meals a day, really big unhealthy meals, an incredible amount of fats, and I'd say out of the 25 kilos I put on, I'd say 10 to 15 were fat. Kilos of fat, so 10 to 15 kilos of fat, and that is ridiculous. It's an insane amount. And also I put on a huge amount of strength. I got way stronger, and my performance in the gym went up a huge amount, but it was not healthy at all. I was spotty, I didn't sleep very well, and I didn't prioritize recovery. I was training 6 days a week with bad sleep and a really bad sleep schedule. Everything was just in the bin practically, and I was just doing everything wrong. So eating 6 meals a day, waking up having a 2,000 calorie bulk shake with peanut butter, Oreos, mass gainer, full of chemicals, you name it, it was just so unhealthy. And I'd neck that, and then I'd have Actimels. I'd have 2 Actimels, but the secret was I'd fill them up to the top with oil. So vegetable oil or olive oil, and I'd fill it to the top. So imagine an Actimel, and they have about that much room in the top of the actual Actimel cup, so it's that big, about that much more, and I'd fill it up to the top with oil, and then I'd shake it, and then I'd neck it. So I'd have 2 of those, and that's probably another few hundred calories. And then I'd have bacon and eggs, and Tesco's, they do this tortellini thing, which is like a pasta with some really bad processed stuff inside. You get like chicken and chorizo, you get the 4 cheeses, and I'd have 1, maybe 2 of those some days, with a whole pot of the sauce it came with, and it was horrible. But I just ate it, and it would be another one of these meals, and with the sauce it's probably another 800 calories, probably another 30-40 grams of protein, a lot of carbs, a lot of fat. That was another meal. And then the days I was in college, I'd have, for lunch, I'd have 2 steak bakes or steak slices, which were about 400 calories a piece, plus a 2-pointer of blue milk, which was another 400-500 calories. So there we go, there's another 1,300-1,200 calories. So have all of that for lunch. After having it in the morning, eggs and bacon plus a smoothie. And then I'd get home, I'd have the pasta dish, which was the tortellini stuff with the sauce, and then I'd go to the gym. I'd do my 2.5 hours working out really intensely, and again didn't prioritize recovery. And then as soon as I got home, I'd have dinner, whatever my mum cooked, and after that I'd go and shower, and then I'd have another meal after that, which would normally be maybe another smoothie, so another one of those bulking shakes, or another thing of the pasta tortellini. So I think by the end of the day I was probably on 4,000, 5,000 calories and probably a 1,500 to 2,000 calorie surplus. And yes, this did work. I will admit it did work. I put on weight fast. I was putting on probably a pound a day. That was my goal. I was weighing myself every day and I was aiming for half a pound to a pound a day, and that's what I was doing. It took a while, but after 6 months I was a lot heavier, and yeah, but it was really bad. It was really unhealthy for me. And then, so come Easter time of 2022, so this was when I was at my peak, had a couple weeks off, and I kept getting ill from Christmas to Easter as well, so I realised there was something I was doing wrong. So from Easter to summer, I then started to pull back on my training a bit, and so I trained less and started prioritising sleep a little bit more, realising, okay, I've got to start sleeping more because that's really beneficial and it's actually the only way I'm going to recover. And then I implemented more rest days, and then I took a few months off the gym altogether and I went and pursued boxing. After I finished my boxing, I was probably around 79 kilos, I believe, or 81 kilos, and a lot lighter. I'd gone from 97 to 81 or 79, whatever it was, in probably another 5 months from Easter. And then what I did was I realised that what I wasn't doing is I was being really unhealthy, and I wasn't doing any cardio, so my breathing was really terrible. It was like my whole throat was like clogged up almost, and just every aspect of what I was doing it wrong. So then I started to realise, okay, what diet is going to be best for me to stay lean and also get stronger, get bigger, but also good for my health. So then I started looking into carnivore, keto diets, and so I tested out just having like eggs and bacon and meat and that kind of thing, and whatever I could get my hands on, and I'd avoid any form of carbs that I could, and I'd just stay away from it. And I was really strict, and I did this while boxing, and I felt amazing on it. But then I started to realise I was missing out a few key vitamins and minerals. So vitamin C, for example, I wasn't getting that in, so I started to get ulcers in my mouth. So I started introducing more fruit and fruit juice and that kind of thing. And then I took a step off of a pre-workout because lots of chemicals. So then I started having honey instead, and I realised that's really beneficial for you. So you've got to realise what are the better alternatives to your health and what's going to help you reach your goals in a better, more effective way. So I didn't want to be fat all year round. So I was like, okay, so I'm going to go keto, do a keto carnivore diet, and then implement some fruit as well. And that works really well for me. That's what I'm doing now. And I'm currently 85 kilos, I'd say around 15% body fat. So I'm fairly lean, and my strength I'm still quite good with my strength. And so from the last 6 months, I've been kind of testing and trying out my new diet, which has been keto carnivore. And the last few weeks especially, I've gone kind of need like out of my depth a bit, trying to understand and trial by fire what's actually going to be really beneficial for me. So I'm looking into fasting, and I've now started implementing that. So I'll wake up, I'll do a couple of hours of work, and then I'll have a little tin can of mackerel, so mackerel in olive oil, and I'll have that, and then I'll go from 9 to, so I'll wake up at 7, and then 7 till 9, and then I'll have my little mackerel, and then 9 till 1 o'clock, and I'll work out between 11 and 1 maybe. That's when I'm fasting again, so I'm not eating anything apart from that little can of mackerel until about 1 o'clock. Then I'll have about 530 grams of raw chicken, and I don't weigh this out. I'm not super strict on it, but I do have it every day. And it's because, so at Tesco's you get these 1.6 kilo tubs of chicken, and what I do is I just split that 3 ways, and that's 3 lunches for me for the next 3 days. So just 1.6 kilos of chicken, which is 533 grams recurring, and I just split that 3 ways, and that's my lunch. So I'll have that for lunch every day, which is around 120 grams of protein, I believe. And then come 2:30, 3 o'clock, I'll have a smoothie, which will be a banana, some frozen berries, which are normally strawberries, raspberries, and the really small berries, I don't know what they're called. And then I'll have some blue milk and a scoop of protein powder, which is Muscle Tech Nitro Tech whey protein, which is really good. It's 30 grams a serving, and it's not incredibly overpriced like things like My Protein. So I'll have a scoop of that in there, blend it up and get that down me. And then come 4 or 5 o'clock, I'll have eggs and bacon. So 4 eggs and 6 rashers of streaky bacon, and that's 6 single rashers because you get a pack of streaky bacon, they come in doubles. So I'll do 3 doubles or 6 singles, however you want to describe it. And then after that, I'll just have whatever my mum cooks for dinner because I'm still living at home. But when I plan to move out, my ideal diet is going to be, and this will obviously chop and change depending on what works for me and how expensive it is and how I find cooking all of this. So ideally I'm going to be fasting from when I wake up till about 1 o'clock and do all my work and gym and stuff in the morning, and then have 3 meals between 1 o'clock and when I go to bed, so 8:30. And those 3 meals will probably be steak and some sort of fruit, and then another meal of meat, be it, I don't know, maybe another steak, say, and then dinner would just be steak and eggs. And I really want to kind of stress this is what has worked for me. You may not enjoy it, and you may have dietary requirements or whatever, and you may be vegan, but I found meat, especially red meat, has been extremely beneficial, and it's really has kind of dialed in my focus in a lot of aspects. I've got a lot less brain fog. I feel a lot more clear-minded. I just feel better overall, and obviously I'm a lower body fat now and I'm a lot lighter, but I feel great. And I feel the number one and most important thing to me now, performance-wise, is diet and recovery. Because I know my training's obviously important, but I only train for an hour a day maybe now, and an hour weights and four days a week doing weights. And that's all I need, and it works. And I'm prioritizing my recovery and my diet because I know that's where the progress is really going to come from. And doing things like now doing the keto carnivore diet with a bit of fruit and making sure I'm getting enough in is the priority. And through trial and error, I found that's what's made the best effect on me. I feel like so much better. I've got so much more energy, and just being that little bit hungry throughout the morning, it helps drive me to get what I need to do done, so I don't get to eat before I've accomplished something throughout the day. And so obviously first year of weightlifting, I put on a lot of weight, and I did it the wrong way. I did it really unhealthily, and looking back at it, did it work putting on weight? Yes. But would I do it that same way again? No. I'd look at better alternatives, so I'd probably do the keto carnivore diet earlier, and I'd look at still putting on weight, but not up to the degree of 97 kilos, because I was extremely large, and everything just felt really unhealthy about me. So looking at it now, I'd say this is the healthiest I've ever been, the best I've ever felt, and it's due to what I'm eating and my priority in both exercise and recovery and nutrition. So I just want to say, sort out your diet, cut out all your processed foods, and make sure you're in whatever calorie surplus or deficit you want to be in, depending if you want to gain or lose weight, and pick a diet that you think will benefit you. So obviously this comes to trial and error. You could try out vegan, I don't recommend it. You could try out vegetarian, don't recommend it. If you're either of those, don't message me. But if you want to do keto carnivore, please just do your research, find out what's best. Try and get grass-fed meats and high quality food, so you're not getting the really bad stuff that's full of antibiotics and that kind of thing. Make sure you're getting high quality meats, and I feel like it makes so much of a difference when you realise what a good diet can actually improve, because it improves so much more than just what you think it would. You think food's just, it's just a source of energy. But yes, it is, but surely you want yourself to feel better, and whatever you're going to put into your body is going to be what is fueling you. So if you're eating constantly things like McDonald's and takeaways, you're going to be so unhealthy, and everything's just not going to be functioning properly. And I believe it's Joe Rogan who talked about this, and he said, so he was talking about a bear, and it was only eating blueberries, and the fat on this bear when they killed it was like a bluey purple fat, only with a slight tinge of blue purple, but it was completely different colour to anything else they'd ever seen. Like, oh my god, this is so weird. Wow, look at this. And it makes you think that kind of fat comes from what they're eating. So if you're eating fast food, obviously no, you're not going to have chicken wings for fat, but it's going to be a completely different colour, and it's going to be so unhealthy. And you've got to make sure you're eating the right stuff to fuel your body and to fuel what you want out of your body. So if I want to become a high level athlete and really just improve my performance in every way I can, then I want to make sure I'm eating the best I can. So yeah, just prioritize your diet, prioritize your recovery. Don't train 6 days a week, train 4 or 5 tops, especially if you're new to it. Learn as much as you can about the best ways to improve in the areas that you want to improve on, and just make sure that you're not overtraining and overeating, because it will just lead to you becoming ill and feeling absolutely terrible. So I just want to say thank you for watching this video, and we'll see you in the next one.